Hello, love angels. It's your girl Shamika for God's Glory. Welcome back to Faith-Filled Friday. So, I am speaking to you all live from the beach. Take a look. I've been trying to get to the beach all summer long, and I'm off today. And you guys know I do cookies and have other business ventures, but you have to make sure you take that time for you and prioritize your time, so that you can do those things that just bring you peace and joy and happiness. So I woke up early, baked all my cookies, gave them the veggie castle, did everything else I got to do. I have some plans tomorrow, so I wanted to make sure I got the cookies out the way so I can just enjoy today. So today's message is entitled Thought Patterns. The average person has 50,000 to 7,000 thoughts per day, which equates to 35 to 48 thoughts per minute. Approximately 95% of our thoughts today are the same thoughts we thought yesterday. To make matters worse, about 80% of those habitual thoughts are negative ones. Tens of thousands of negative thoughts cycle through our minds day after day after day, poisoning our attitudes and our outlooks one by one. 80% of tens of thousands of little thoughts add up to a lot of negative thinking and self-talk. If the majority of our thoughts are positive, then we'll feel and be more positive. But if the majority of our self-talk is negative, well, guess what? Let's just say the outcome will not be so pretty. You see, it is our thoughts that drive our feelings and our happiness, not our circumstances. If our thoughts are negative, our feelings and actions will be negative as well. And altogether, those things can lead to a negative life, lacking peace and joy, which is what I was just talking about just a few minutes ago. For example, if we spend an entire day fuming over our spouse's flaws and thinking about how he doesn't meet our needs, he or she, we will feel animosity toward him or her, at minimum, a lack of love, which leads to outward negative behaviors that might damage the relationship. If we spend time thinking about how our boss didn't appreciate us and constantly telling ourselves how underpaid we are, we will feel discontent at our job, which can lead to a bad attitude, poor job performance, or maybe the unemployment line. If we spend time thinking about what other people think about us, we will feel like we don't measure up and live with a lack of confidence in who we are and whose we are. If we constantly think about our past mistakes rather than accept God's forgiveness and mercy, we will feel unforgivable and unlovable and live a life disconnected from the love and acceptance He wants us to embrace. If we let the critical words a parent said to us when we were children, the rejection or hurtful actions of a spouse, or the judgment of a friend or loved one dwell in our thoughts and define how we think about ourselves, we will feel like worthless individuals incapable of living life with purpose. If we listen to all this negative self-talk which is not from God, we might end up sinking in an ocean of discouragement and hopelessness and feeling that we can never swim our way out to peaceful waters. You see, our thoughts turn into feelings that can easily take control of our lives and steer us in a direction we do not want to go in. Our feelings are persistent and unrelenting, constantly whispering to gain dominion over our actions. They can create our destiny, either good or bad, because whatever we are dwelling on in our minds is what will play out in our lives. It is usually our thoughts, not our circumstances, that cause us to sink. This is such an important truth to tuck into our minds. Mark it down. What we think becomes who we are. I know you all have heard that the mind is powerful. And I put up a poster recently, the body achieves what the mind believes. So much power in our thoughts. And the part where it was talking about words that were said to you as a child, like you all, or those who may have experienced it, I too was told certain things about me, like, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. And I used to live with that and think what they said was truth. And I learned over the years, like, what they say doesn't matter. It's what God says about you. Also, let's say you were a certain way as a younger person, and then you grew out of that. You've matured. You've grown, and people still see you as that person. Now, that has definitely happened to me, even in my family, I tend to be, or people see me one way. And then they still think that I'm that same girl. Like, of course, overall, I'm still that happy-go-lucky girl, but my mindset has changed. I don't believe in a lot of the same things a lot of people believe in. And like I tell my sister a lot lately, I'm like, I'm not of this world. Like, I live in the world, but I'm not a part of the world. I think I may be saying that wrong, but you guys know what scripture I'm talking about in the Bible. You know, like, I don't follow what the world does. What I do is, you know, and I try to make this a daily thing, as I ask God, what is it you want from my life? You know, what is your path for my life? And make sure what I'm doing is pleasing Him, not anybody else. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks and pleasing anybody else. You know, like, I'm a child of God, and I want to walk in that way and be an inspiration and bring others to Christ, you know. But at the same time, if someone thinks, oh, she's lazy, I know that I'm not lazy. God knows I'm not lazy. So counteracting those negative thoughts from other people with what God says about you. And it can be a constant struggle, you know, especially depending on where you are in your life, in your spiritual life. For me, it took time getting here. A friend of mine the other day just asked, she's like, how did you get to where you got to, you know, right now? I have the peace that surpasses all understanding. I'm happy. I'm joyful. That's what's really important. And I finally used the resources that were given to me and applied it to my life. A lot of times we have the resources with us, in us, and we just don't tap into them. So I pray that this message definitely encourages you all and gives you some newfound faith. As you can see, I'm very extra relaxed because I'm at the beach with the peaceful water and the sand and the birds and nature, and I'm loving it. And I want to encourage you all too. If there's something that you've been wanting to do and you just keep putting it off, get up and do it. Just do it. Same with the beach. I was telling my friend Denise, shout out to Denise last week, I'm like, I gotta get to the beach. I gotta get to the beach. And I keep saying I gotta get to it. It's like we have to stop saying we gotta get to it and just do it. Alright, so I'm gonna leave you all with some scriptures as always. First one is Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. And lastly, Proverbs 4:23. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. All right, so I will see you all next time. And for God's glory, God bless.